So I officially got sued for a video that I put on this channel on March 31st of this year. I did not think it would come to this. I honestly, obviously, I'm upset. It could potentially cost me a lot of money. I also think it's kind of funny because I don't think there's any real claim here at all. But we're going to break the whole thing down. And like I said, I have different ways that I can proceed going forward, so I'll go over all of that in this video, because he used a new filing system that's only been around for a few years that I had never heard of. So I had to do a bunch of research on what actually happened before I made this video talking about it. So if you don't know, on March 31st, I put out a video about a dentist who performed oral surgery on a patient last year, and that patient died in the chair while he was operating on them. Did a whole video about that. I don't want to go into details, obviously, for legal reasons about that video, but that was the gist of what that video was about. Now, on April 7th, he filed a copyright strike to get that video taken down. And that's what happened. The video got taken down. I made a couple of videos on my second channel talking about the initial, how it got taken down. And how that works is the YouTuber, if you have a video taken down through a copyright strike, you can file a counterclaim, which is what I did. And so how that works is the individual who filed the initial copyright strike, they now have 10 business days to show YouTube that they have filed some type of lawsuit against my video. And if they do that within 10 business days, my video remains removed off of YouTube. But if they don't do that, then the copyright strike is removed and my video goes back up on YouTube. So the 10 business days was supposed to expire today on 4/21, 2026. I think around 3 p.m. in the afternoon or so is when the claim would have expired, the 10 business days. And I woke up this morning and got an email around 8 a.m. From YouTube stating that my video was going to remain taken down because the individual that filed the copyright strike has now initiated a lawsuit against me. It says, this is from YouTube letting me know. It says, hello, thank you for submitting your counter notification. As part of the counter notification process, the claimant must provide evidence of legal action taken to keep the content from being reinstated to YouTube. Attached to this email is the evidence that we've received from the claimant. While legal action is in process, the content won't be reinstated to YouTube. If the outcome of the legal action is in your favor, you can submit proof of the outcome by replying to this email. After receiving the proof, the content may be reinstated to YouTube. You can learn more about the counter notification. Sincerely, YouTube. And then they included the attachment that they received from Dr. Sebastian, the guy that filed the copyright claim and has now sued me. So this is the file that he sent YouTube. It is a claim in the Copyright Claims Board program. And this is a new program. I'll go over this in a little bit. I'll go over a little bit about this. So the Copyright Claims Board is a new online filing service that was implemented by the U.S. Congress in 2022. I believe it was in 2020, and it went live in 2022. And what this is a way for you to file a copyright claim completely online without going through the federal system. So it's a lawsuit that is done online, and you don't have to hire lawyers to defend yourself. You can if you want to, but this whole process is completely done online. There are limits to how much they can ask for. I believe the max that he can ask for, which he did, is $30,000 in the Copyright Claims Board. Okay, so like I said, this is a new program that's I had never heard of before this. So it's not through federal court. It's through this online process. I'll have a link to the actual case. The case was issued today, so there's no actual filing. It's just the case number that is there. And I'll go over exactly more about that in a second. But let's take a look at the Copyright Claims Board that he sent over. So it has the docket number. File date was today. United States Copyright Claims Board filing receipt. Type a claim for infringement. Would you like to proceed as a smaller claim proceeding, including the $5,000 monetary limit? He said no, so he's asking for much more than that. Claimant, his name, Francesco Sebastian. I'm going to block out his email and phone number and address because obviously he's gonna see this and claim that I'm trying to dox him or something, even though it's a legal document, so I won't show it. And it gives who he's suing is me, my name, and my email for my YouTube channel. And it says infringement claims. Work infringed. Title of work, Florida Dental Implant Studio website. He gives his website address, January 2026 version. Author, his name Francesco Sebastian. Has the work been registered by the Copyright Office? No. That's a little interesting. We'll go over that in just a second. Service request number, type of work, literary, such as fiction, nonfiction, poetry. Describe the work. The January 2026 version of the official website owned by Florida Dental Implant Studio. This is a registered literary work that includes original text, layout, branding, procedural descriptions, doctor biography, promotional content, and visual elements created and published by the claimant. Now, there's also a second claim that he put for a specific logo on his website. It says title of work, Florida Dental Implant Studio logo, tooth and tree and sun design. He's the author. Has the work been registered by the Copyright Office? No. Service request number, type of work, pictorial, graphic, and sculptural. Describe the work. It goes over detail as to what it is. And then infringement claim, allegedly infringement activities. Distribute copies of the work, reproduce the work, publicly display the work, created derivative work. Is this infringement ongoing? Yes. The video's down, so there's no infringement currently going on. You can't watch the video anywhere. Infringement dates March 26, 2026 to present. And then he has a link to my YouTube video, which you can't watch because it's taken down, and where the alleged infringement act occurs. Is the alleged infringed work an exact copy of your entire work? He says no. And he says, how do you believe the respondent accessed your work? The respondent accessed my copyrighted work by viewing the publicly available website. He then willfully copied substantial portions, screenshots, text, layout, branding, logo, and video clips without permission and incorporated them into his own commercial video. And he goes on to say, what are the similarities between your work and the alleged infringed work? And he goes, the alleged infringed video are substantially similar to my registered copyright works. They directly reproduce text, office logo, stuff like that. The respondent's willful and repeated infringement has caused me severe, ongoing, and irreparable harm, including massive loss of patients, destruction of my professional reputation, and severe economic damages in lost revenue, 6 to 7 figures already. The video falsely accused me of killing patients, which has directly led to cancellations and severe reputational damage in Florida. I request the maximum monetary relief allowed by the CCB, $30,000 total, actual damages, the respondent's profits from the infringed videos, and a permanent order permanently restraining the respondent from any further posting, display, distribution, or republication of the infringing video or any derivative works containing my copyrighted materials. So that is the entire filing he made against me, and honestly, in my opinion, I really don't think there's much of a case here, and I'll go over why that is. So he talks about how I stole a bunch of his intellectual property, and I used a bunch of it in my footage. Now, what I actually used, obviously I can't show you this because the video is taken down, but specifically in my video, I showed a screenshot from his website for, I believe, about 5 seconds in total. And the reason that I showed this screenshot was because on his website, he has a picture of him embracing actor Mark Wahlberg. And below the picture, it says Mark Wahlberg endorses this dentist. I don't remember exactly what it says. Mark Wahlberg endorses Dr. Sebastian or something like that, right? And it turns out there was another news organization. He's located in Florida. This news company in Florida looked into it. They also put out the video talking about it. I'll talk more about that in a second. And it turns out that Mark Wahlberg does not endorse this dentist at all. So that is why I put that in the video, right? And specifically, that, in my opinion, is under fair use. Showing him presenting, a picture of Mark Wahlberg, saying Mark Wahlberg endorses him, and it's not true, that's fair use for me to show that. But because I showed his website, and specifically he had a little logo on his website that he claims is now copyrighted, he has taken down my entire video for that. Now, what's really interesting about that is, like I said, there is another news company. I'll have a link to their video. This news organization, local news for Florida, covered this story just like I did. They covered it 4 months ago, and they specifically showed the exact website that I showed, the exact picture, and the picture of Mark Wahlberg and the dentist. And they reached out to Mark Wahlberg. They're the ones who looked into it, and Mark Wahlberg said he didn't know the dentist and doesn't endorse him. And that video is still up on YouTube. So I have no idea why he took down my video claiming that, and leaves up the other video from the news organization that has infinitely more views talking about it. Their video, I believe, has like 170,000 views or something like that. My video before it was taken down had like 25,000 views. So it doesn't make any sense at all. So the initial claim, this is what he used to initially get my video taken down. He sent this to YouTube. YouTube forwarded it to me. And in the email he sent them, he said there was copyrighted works that I had used in my video, and specifically he names 3 things. He names the website, which is in the claim that is updated, but he also lists 2 videos titled Tina's Same Day Smiles and Barry's Same Day Smiles, and he has a link to those 2 videos. I did not know he had a YouTube channel. It doesn't have like any views at all, and I did not use any clips from those videos in my video. But he claimed that in the initial email he sent to YouTube. So he lied to them and told them I had used additional footage that I never did. Now, he's not saying that in the new case because obviously I called him out. I made a second channel video where I exposed that he said that to YouTube, and it's not true at all. So that's not in the new claim where he's actually suing me. Now, like I said, this lawsuit is going through the Copyright Claims Board, which is a new system that's only been around since 2022. It's not a federal case, and it's kind of interesting because I don't really know how I'm going to proceed going forward because I have a few different options. So how this works, I believe it's a small number of like judges or attorneys or whatever that govern this Copyright Claims Board. So it can take a number of weeks before they will actually look at the initial filing that he sent them about my case, right? And they will look over the information he has sent them, and they will determine if this case should go forward or not. And if it goes forward, I will then receive an email with information, all the details about me being sued and everything, and how I can log in to the Copyright Claims Board. Now, as of right now, I can't do anything about this, but once it has been reviewed by the people in charge of this, how this system works is kind of interesting. You can actually opt out of the proceeding. So once I get the information, they will send me a code, and there's this button you can click on called Opt Out of Proceeding on their website, and I can actually get the case dismissed automatically, right? And you maybe think, well, that's a good thing, right? Well, it's complicated. If I get the case dismissed, he can then sue me in federal court for a lot more money. The damages this particular board, the max damages he can ask for is $30,000. If I opt out of this, he can sue me in federal court. He can ask for whatever amount he wants, right? He can, like, in the claim that he showed that he said that he had irreparable damages because of my video. So potentially he could sue me for like millions of dollars in federal court, right? So obviously I have to judge how I want to proceed. Do I want to go through the Copyright Claims Board, which the max I could potentially lose is $30,000, or I could get this dropped and then he could sue me in federal court for infinitely more money. I don't really know what I'm going to do at this point, right? One thing I do want to mention, I do have defamation insurance. I've never had to use it as of yet, but I don't know that defamation, the insurance would actually cover something related to this copyright claims issue. So I think if I went through the copyright claims, I would have to cover it myself. It's completely done online. You don't have to hire a lawyer, but I potentially, if the claim was issued in his favor, I could lose up to $30,000, right? If I were to opt out of this and he were to sue me in federal court, then I think I could use my insurance in that particular case. But I'm not sure at this point. Obviously, I would have to call my insurance and look more into it. I was not expecting this to happen. For me personally, I think this is just a delaying tactic of him not wanting my video back up, because he literally waited until the very last day, hours before the 10-day copyright strike, business day copyright strike would expire. And then he filed this. And this whole Copyright Claims Board, like I said, it can take weeks before the people in charge of this will actually even look at the case and then determine if it's going to go forward or not. And while that happens, my video will stay down. So it feels like this is just a way, like I said, for him to prevent the video from being put back up on YouTube. Yeah. So, yeah, it is disappointing. Like I said, I don't think if this goes forward, I don't think I would lose the case because, like I said, it was, in my opinion, fair use, where I just showed a few seconds of his website to specifically point out the Mark Wahlberg picture. So I don't really think there's much of a case. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do going forward, guys. But there you go. There's an update. I have been sued through this new system, the Copyright Claims Board, and now I could potentially be on the hook for $30,000 in damages. We'll see how it goes from here.